It's all starting to make sense. We should have known, ladies and gentlemen, that the Daily Wire was on the brink of collapse and that Benny Boy wants an all-out assault on my life over it because he blames me.
So Candace Owens just exposed a massive scandal. Ben Shapiro's brother-in-law is secretly coordinating lawsuits against her while Daily Wire collapses with 60% layoffs. This isn't just media drama. It's about how conservative power brokers weaponize the legal system when their business models fail. Let's break this down.
Okay. Since the day that I was fired from the Daily Wire, he has not stopped trying to bankrupt my family. It is almost comical at this point. We've learned to just laugh at it. It never goes away. We were laughing at the fact that he's just kind of allowed to pretend to be this normal public figure, but he's low-key a deranged stalker. And like he just sort of hides behind it, tries to dignify the stalking through legal filings.
This stalking behavior is textbook corporate retaliation, monitoring social media likes, filing frivolous lawsuits, sending interns to follow former employees. What she's describing crosses every professional boundary. When businesses use legal warfare instead of competing in the marketplace, it signals desperation and moral bankruptcy.
It all made sense when phone calls started coming in, emails started coming in regarding the Daily Wire layoffs, which began, I am told, on Thursday, actually, continued through Friday. There's some indication they may actually be continuing through today. And it was an absolute bloodbath. Do not allow them to spin it. Okay, I'm talking entire departments, big people at the firm, lawyers at the firm, the chief operating officer, the executive vice president, virtually the entire marketing department, the production team has now been reduced to a mere skeleton crew.
Monitoring an ex-employee's Twitter likes and filing lawsuits over them? That's not business. That's obsession. Normal companies part ways professionally. This level of surveillance and legal harassment suggests someone who can't accept losing control over a former asset.
Even a director on his team was fired. It was brutal. I have counted approximately 54 people who lost their jobs from top to bottom. And that's just in this wave, because this has been going on, as we all know, for a while. The writing has been on the wall for a while. It has been very strange, the worst kept secret in media, as they keep writing, having people publish these articles that just defy reality.
These aren't normal layoffs. Losing your COO, executive VP, entire marketing department, and legal team simultaneously is corporate death spiral territory. The timing with the coordinated legal attacks isn't coincidence. When companies face existential crisis, they often lash out at perceived enemies instead of fixing fundamental problems.
They'll inject cash into your company. They'll float you for about 2 years as you attempt to turn things around. You fire some people, you restructure a little bit, but you're kind of walking the plank, right? Maybe you fix it, but if you don't, they're gonna sell that company, and they're gonna own a huge chunk of that company that they sell. Now, I can't assert that that is definitively what the deal terms were for the Daily Wire, but I can say that we're just about now over 2 years, just over 2 years removed from my firing, and the Daily Wire has obviously not turned the company around.
Media companies excel at spinning their own collapse. Remember when CNN Plus spent $300 million and lasted 1 month, but executives kept claiming victory until the very end? Insiders always know the real numbers, while public relations maintains the facade of success.
Right? It's a virtual overnight collapse. In 2023, they were arguably one of the most promising companies, conservative media companies, certainly in the game. They were at the top of their game. Everyone was clamoring to work with them, to do projects with them. And now we fast forward to 2026, and generally speaking, again, I'm speaking generally, everyone hates the Daily Wire, right? We just hate the Daily Wire. How is that possible?
Her private equity background is crucial here. Distressed debt firms typically give companies 18 to 24 months to turn around before pulling the plug. If Daily Wire took money 2 years ago and still hasn't stabilized, they're living on borrowed time with borrowed money.
He wrote, "The Daily Wire is the case study of why personality-driven media companies cannot compound. A peak in late 2023, Shapiro's YouTube alone pulled 170 million monthly views. Daily Wire Plus subscriptions, a Nashville studio operation, Bentkey Kids streaming, an e-commerce arm with razors and chocolates and cigars. The company was running $1 billion conservative Disney bet. Then they made the studio bet bigger. Pendragon Cycle, an Arthurian fantasy series of the kind that has bankrupted larger production houses. Bentkey trying to compete with Disney for kids' attention. Daily Wire Plus chasing Netflix. Running a newsroom, a film studio, a children's streaming platform, and a private label consumer goods business. simultaneously requires either limitless capital or extraordinary discipline. Some of it worked. Matt Walsh's Am I Racist was the top grossing documentary of 2024, but most of it didn't.
The timeline is damning. Fire your biggest star, spend 2 years obsessing over destroying her instead of building your business, then watch your audience follow her out the door. Private equity investors don't fund personal vendettas. They fund profitable companies.
She walked into the open market and built a show that competes with theirs. Today, she has 5.5 million YouTube subscribers and added 10.9 million followers across platforms since January of 2025, generating roughly 805 million views in that window. Daily Wire converted its biggest distribution asset into its largest competitor. Early 2025, co-founder Jeremy Boring stepped down as co-CEO and launched a solo podcast outside of the company that he co-founded. Bentke was shuttered the same year, entire team cut. Then the audience math hit Shapiro himself, 170 million monthly YouTube views in late 2023 to roughly 22 million in early 2026, an 85% collapse in 18 months. Another 60,000 subscribers gone in the last 90 days alone.
The Enron comparison is apt. Arthur Andersen, Lehman Brothers, WeWork. When companies prioritize image over fundamentals, collapse comes fast. Daily Wire went from industry leader to industry pariah in 18 months. That's not market forces, that's self-destruction.
That's crucial. Their exits, despite the fact that they are doing better, did not destroy Fox News. This means that Daily Wire is unique. They are unique. They are set apart from those examples. I left PragerU. I left Turning Point USA. Neither one of those companies were destroyed by my exit. In fact, we were all friends when I left. I went on to work with Turning Point all the way through until this year, actually, contractually. And same with PragerU. We would still do things together. I was still close with Marissa, very close with Marissa. So what makes those companies, what is it that makes those companies different, right? I think what makes them different is that they didn't stalk their departed talent.
Calling Christ as King anti-Semitic was strategic suicide for a conservative media company. That phrase is core Christian doctrine. Attacking your own audience's fundamental beliefs while claiming to represent conservative values? No wonder the audience abandoned ship.
He bet the company on destroying me. I didn't want to fight with them. I wanted to peace out. I wish Andrew Klavan never made the Christ is King video. You would have never heard from me. We can never speak about each other ever again. But they were plotting. They wanted to be destructive. I mean, just take a listen to him and the many battles that he is fighting.
The numbers don't lie. She gained 10.9 million followers and 805 million views since leaving, while Shapiro lost 85% of his audience. Daily Wire tried to be everything: Disney, Netflix, Amazon, and became nothing. Focus beats diversification every time.
I mean, it's just not normal, right? It's just not normal to go after Theo Von. Everybody loves Theo Von. He's just a person that everybody loves, but he just goes, Theo Von is friends with Candace Owens, and I therefore hate him and I want to destroy him, and every person has to want to destroy her and join this team. You can't have those sorts of people in the boardroom. Your company will eventually destroy itself.
From 170 million monthly views to 22 million. That's not algorithm changes, that's audience rejection. Tucker and Meghan succeeded post-departure because they stayed in their lane. When talent is the product, losing talent means losing everything.
What they don't expect and what people have proven that they have no appetite for is perfidy, right? Treachery, deceit, betrayal against your own. Ben trying to destroy me, trying to destroy Megyn Kelly, that means trying to destroy a former colleague and someone like Megyn Kelly, who he said was his friend. That is perfidious. There's no other way to say that.
Exactly right. Fox survived Tucker and Meghan leaving because they didn't wage war against them. Daily Wire's collapse after her departure proved she wasn't just talent, she was a foundational pillar. Remove the foundation, watch the building fall.
Right, to use a biblical analogy, Peter thrice denied Jesus. But Peter was not Judas. We are naturally, as human beings, averse to the spirit of Judas. And that is what Ben Shapiro demonstrates, right? That he will break bread with people as he plots against them. That is a moral offense to which we cannot rally behind.
Professional companies cut ties cleanly. They don't stalk, sue, or sabotage former employees because they understand basic business psychology. Obsessing over the past prevents building the future. Daily Wire chose vendetta over vision.
You think like that, oh, I mean, hey, I wanted to let you guys know this personally from me. Like, this is what's going on. We thank people so much. No, of course, he does not have the courage to do that. Right? Calls Megyn Kelly a coward. But what did Ben do instead of addressing his employees? Instead, he made his show about me, signaling that he wants his tribe to now begin targeting my money, of course. And he wants the public to know that they shouldn't listen to my show, because when they listen to my show, they make money.
Creating shows to mock former employees and reactivating their social media channels for harassment? That's not business strategy. That's abusive ex-boyfriend behavior scaled to corporate level. No wonder audiences found it repulsive.
And right on cue, his supporters then began demanding a boycott of our show advertisers over the weekend. And it began trending. So take a look at this, where they listed all of our sponsors. It says, list of companies that sponsor Candace Owens' podcast. Do all these companies condone the behavior of Candace berating and demonizing a widow, Erica Kirk? If you haven't already, I suggest boycotting these companies until they withdraw their sponsorships. I'm also calling on all of these companies to withdraw their sponsorships of Candace Owens' podcast. I don't believe her views align with their company values.
When the face of your company develops tunnel vision focused on personal destruction rather than business growth, shareholders suffer. Shapiro bet the company on revenge and lost everything. That's not leadership. That's emotional instability with corporate consequences.
I wasn't at war with Ben. I wasn't trying to destroy Ben. I didn't tell people to boycott Ben or boycott the Daily Wire. To the contrary, I feel really bad for the employees who lost their jobs in that way. And behind the scenes, I'm trying to help some of them get new jobs because they moved their lives and their families here. But regarding Ben, that is just the spirit of a man who wants money as revenge for his own actions. No one told Ben to launch a war on Christ as king.
Knowing layoffs are coming but choosing to fund personal legal vendettas instead of saving jobs, that's moral bankruptcy. Board members who prioritize destroying former employees over protecting current ones deserve every bit of collapse they get.
But it's not going to work. So my best advice to them, which they of course will not follow, you can always count on Daily Wire to do the wrong thing. My best advice would be for them to shutter and sell the tech stack, okay? You cannot rehabilitate hatred. You cannot rehabilitate the way you are viewed on the world stage. You cannot rehabilitate Ben's anger and his tunnel vision. People see the Daily Wire and they see Ben and they don't want to support that.
She's absolutely right about brand rehabilitation being impossible. Once a company becomes synonymous with personal vendetta and employee mistreatment, investors and talent avoid it. The smart move is exactly what she says: sell the assets and start fresh without the toxic leadership.